Hello everybody, I'm Maxi. Welcome to a new episode. Recently, I have noticed a thing. When English talks about things like race and nationality, the words are usually very ambiguous, and the conversation can soon get messy and people start fighting each other. And I realized I don't experience this problem when using Chinese. So what I'm talking about here is, for example, if we talk about the things currently between Russia and Ukraine, when I watch English news, usually it says the Russians did what, the Ukrainians did what, but what Russian and what Ukrainians are we talking about here? Some Russian citizens are ethnic Ukrainians and some Ukrainian citizens are ethnic Russians. And there are ethnic Russians around the world that are not citizens of either of these countries. There are many ethnic Russians that are Chinese citizens. Another example is a video I watched lately. A black kid in Ireland says he's Irish. If I remember it correctly, he was born in Ireland, he grew up in Ireland, so he says he's Irish. And people were fighting in the comments. Some say, no, the Irish are white, and words like racist, colonists fly everywhere. And I was there thinking, okay, his ethnicity is definitely not Irish. His heritage is of a ethnic group from Africa. That is very clear in my opinion. But he is an Irish citizen, a citizen of Ireland, and the word Irish can mean that, so he's not wrong. But when you speak English in a daily conversation, you just use the word Irish to mean all those things, and it's messy. Well, this problem doesn't exist when I speak Chinese. Let me show you why. Okay, let's use Russia as an example here again. The English word Russian as an identity can be translated into two words in Chinese. We have 俄罗斯人 and 俄罗斯族. The character 人 means human, people, person. 族 means race, ethnicity, nationality. So 俄罗斯人 means a citizen of Russia. 俄罗斯族 means a ethnic Russian. But when you translate them into English, they are usually just both Russian. So in Chinese, if we put the character 人 after a country's name, that word means a citizen of that country. For example, I am a 中国人. I am a citizen of China. And the black kid we just talked about, he is a 爱尔兰人. He is a citizen of Ireland. Rishi Sunak is a 英国人. He is a UK citizen. These words have nothing to do with our ethnicity. And then, if we use the character 族 at the end, it's very clear that we are talking about the ethnicity of a person. For example, I am a 汉族, or I can say I'm a 汉族人. That means I'm a member of the Han ethnic group. English now usually says Han Chinese. And there are Chinese Russians that would tell you they are 俄罗斯族. That means they are ethnic Russians, nothing to do with their citizenship. This is how we talk about ethnicity here. We just use 族 as the end of the name of the identity. We use this formation to talk about other countries too when we know the name of an ethnic group. For example, I used to work in a company that does business in African markets. And when I listened to some senior colleagues talking about the local markets there, some of them sometimes would say 豪萨族 what, 约鲁巴族 what, instead of just saying the Nigerian people what. And it's very clear to me that the Hausa and Yoruba here are ethnic group names, even if it's the first time I hear these names. So this is how you express your ethnic identity in Chinese. And if you make a friend in China and you are curious of his or her ethnic origin, you can just ask them, 你是什么民族啊? That means, what ethnic group are you from? And this is not rude or offensive at all. Okay, aside from 人 and 族, we have another character for this purpose. That's 裔. It literally means descendant, and it is used to loosely describe someone's heritage, usually when this person's citizenship is very different from their origin. You can just put this character behind a country's name, and that means this person is of the descent of that country. For example, you can say Trump is a 德国裔 or 德国裔美国人. That means he's a US citizen of German descent. It is very easy to use this character to describe someone's origin. So the first way is like the Trump example. You can just put it behind a country's name. You can say 西班牙裔 that means of Spanish descent, the family is originally from Spain. And you can also put "yi" behind the name of a continent. For example, you can say Fei Yi or Feizhou Yi, that means of African descent. You can also put it behind the name of an ethnicity. For example, if you say 阿拉伯裔, that means of Arab descent. This also makes it easy to talk about mixed race kids. For example, you can say someone is 德裔加韩裔, that means he is of both German and Korean descent. So, when we talk about things like this in Chinese, you can always see characters like 人, 族, 裔 at the end of the identity name. So it's very clear to us which aspect we are talking about. Again, I think you can see Chinese is a language full of annotations everywhere. Okay, speaking of this, I think it's time for us to talk about how messy the English word Chinese is. Do we still remember that there was once a Singaporean man roasted by a certain country's Congress? Basically, it's like, are you Chinese? No, I'm Singaporean. Are you Chinese? No, I'm Singaporean. Yeah, but are you Chinese? Do you have any tie with China's Communist Party? So, what does Chinese even mean? A PRC citizen is called a Chinese. A second or third generation immigrant kid who was born and raised up in the US is a Chinese. And a Singaporean Chinese person is also a Chinese. If you just throw this word to Google Translate, it tells you 中国人. But no, 中国人 is a very narrow definition. It means a citizen of China. If we talk about the other Chinese around the world who are not citizens of China, we use the word 华人. That Chinese should be translated to 华人. This is the word to describe that ethnic identity. And why you see the character 华 here is because the name of the collective ethnicity is called 中华民族. 中华民族, that's how you divide it. 民族 means race, ethnicity, nationality, and 中华 is the name of this identity. That's why you use 华 in 华人. And 华人 is only talking about your ethnicity. It doesn't matter which country's citizenship you have. An ethnic Chinese citizen of China is a 华人. An ethnic Chinese citizen of the US is a 华人. All the ethnic Chinese around the world are 华人. And then when we describe some overseas Chinese who is ethnic Chinese but not a citizen of China, we can use the word 华裔. Again, you see 裔 here, that means the descent. So all these words' meanings are very clear just by looking at it. It's very clear even if you have never heard the name of a country, you know what the word is talking about. But all this information are usually just lost when you translate all this into English when people just say Chinese. And I think it's even messier because the word Chinese doesn't exist in Chinese. We don't call ourselves Chinese, we don't call ourselves porcelain people. Okay, that is today's video. I hope it's helpful if you ever need to talk about this in Chinese. And if English is not your mother tongue, I'm very curious whether your language has the same problem as English or not, or does it have the same advantage as Chinese, or is it very different from both these languages in this aspect? I'm really curious about that. Please tell us in the comments. And again, thank you all for watching this far. If you like this episode, if you like what I do, please leave a like and subscribe. And besides these videos, I'm also posting some trivial knowledges in my membership thread. Trivial knowledges that are too trivial to make into videos. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe to the membership. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next episode. Bye bye.